Caloroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. In the Daily Mail, Alison Boshoff took a look at the Prince Harry reboot. She writes, there has been a slightly skittish energy about Prince Harry over the past 2 weeks, as he has left his Montecito mansion and gone solo from New York to London to Lesotho, undertaking various speaking engagements at awards ceremonies and charitable panels and summits. You could see it in the way he nervously cracked his knuckles while waiting to address an audience in New York, and in the way he wrung his hands and licked his lips on stage a few days later at the Well Child Awards in London. And who could blame him for feeling apprehensive? Because the past fortnight has seen Prince Harry essay a full relaunch on the philanthropic scene after the score-settling Pinnacle, or should that be Nadir, which was his book Spare. Bad news seems to have a habit of following him wherever he goes. Last week, with yet more terrible timing, the couple's head of press, Ashley Hansen, announced she is stepping down to launch her own agency. Meghan quickly stepped in with a gushing assessment of her qualities, and Hansen said she was going to carry on looking after the Sussexes part-time. It left Meghan trying to mastermind an almighty emergency PR cleanup exercise. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Harry could only forge ahead with his attempted relaunch as a global philanthropist. The trip has served to highlight his isolation from the family and friends who once stood by his side. One report suggests that one of his security team, David Langdown, known as Langers, is now his closest friend. If true, your heart breaks for Harry, once the most sociable and popular of young men, now reduced to thinking that the men paid to keep him safe are his besties. Many are wondering why Meghan was left behind in the latest travels. After all, when he made 2 faux royal tours earlier this year to Nigeria and Colombia, his glamorous wife was firmly at his side. Sources in California believe the new solo Harry is Harry's own idea. I hear he wanted it this way, says a well-placed Californian source. I believe he wants space. Former BBC royal correspondent Jenny Bond tells OK, I think anyone would feel more comfortable in a situation that they've been accustomed to, and Harry has been championing the Well Child Awards for some 16 years, so of course he looked more relaxed in that environment than in the still somewhat alien surroundings of La La Land. I don't think it's got anything to do with being royal or not royal. It's simply a question of an environment you are more used to. Maybe we should stop analysing every gesture and every tie stroke and just appreciate that he is a man trying to use his position to do some good in the world. Maybe it's better for his kids as well, for him to disappear for a fortnight and then be at home rather than lots of comings and goings. Harry is box office. He always had a way with people and crowds, and it's lovely to see him coming into his own with charities and causes that he became involved with many years ago. Married couples don't have to do everything together. The children are young. It's much better for them to have one parent at home. So it all makes perfect sense. It's just Harry doing what Harry does best. Royal author Ingrid Seward tells The Sun, I think that Meghan has managed to alienate a lot of her former friends. She does something which is very distressing for people. She actually sort of just cuts them dead and ghosts them, as it's called. But to me, it's just called cutting them dead and not wanting to see them anymore. And if they upset her, that's what she does, and it's very difficult to deal with somebody like that. I think that people are just fed up with Meghan. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson discussed on LBC how he tried to intervene back in Megxit. Johnson admitted, it was a moment of epic pomposity by me. He went on to praise both Harry and Meghan for their dedication to causes like female education and the Invictus Games. Johnson recalled how the couple had made a strong impression at a Commonwealth event, noting that Meghan knew her stuff and Harry was equally committed. Johnson shared details of a manly pep talk he had with Prince Harry, where he tried to convince the Duke to stay. With ineffable pomposity, I said, Harry, do you think you and Meghan really need to go to California? Really? The meeting between the two lasted 20 minutes without any aides present, but despite Johnson's best efforts, he couldn't persuade Harry to change his mind. In another possible tell about the real state of the King's health, Charles will not be attending the COP29 climate summit in Azerbaijan next month as he continues to manage his health while undergoing cancer treatment. The decision to skip the summit comes despite his long-standing commitment to environmental causes and previous participation in such events, including his passionate speech at COP28 in Dubai last year. There, he warned that global efforts to meet climate targets were dreadfully far off track. Organisers had hoped Charles, known for his dedication to environmentalism, would be present. However, royal sources confirmed that he will not attend, with the government deciding not to ask him, citing concerns over his busy schedule, which includes an upcoming autumn tour of Australia and Samoa with Queen Camilla. Palace Intrigue will be right back. Nacho Figueres spoke to People about the upcoming Netflix Polo series that apparently doesn't feature much of Harry. Nacho tells People, "Look, to me it's an honor to do anything with him. He's a dear friend. This is more his project than it is mine. It's an honor to know that I was able to help. And the show is not about me, it's not about him. So we've been working very hard on it and we're very excited about the outcome. Look, everything about it, I would love for it to be kind of like a surprise. But what I can tell you is that as a polo player, I think this is something that I've been waiting for my entire life. You know, the behind the scenes kind of like what Drive to Survive did for Formula One. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. Hopefully this will be the beginning of a hopefully longer series that will expose our sport to millions of people." Netflix promises the show follows elite global players and offers an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the fast-paced world of the sport. The British royal family's relationship with last names has always been a bit, confusing. On their official website, it's noted that members of the royal family can be known by either the name of their royal house or a surname, but sometimes they don't bother with a last name at all. When they do use a surname, it's typically Windsor, though sometimes it's Mountbatten Windsor. This all stems from King George V, who in 1917 decided to change the family name from Saxe-Coburg and Gotha to Windsor in response to anti-German sentiment during World War I. Windsor was chosen after Windsor Castle, and it's stuck around ever since. Then in 1960, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip added Mountbatten into the mix for their untitled descendants, creating the mouthful we now know as Mountbatten Windsor. And if that wasn't complicated enough, let's not forget the shifting titles. Prince William and Catherine were once the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, before being elevated to the Prince and Princess of Wales after the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Their children were also known by the surname Cambridge in school, but now go by Wales. So if you've lost track of who's called what, you're not alone. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice, and write us a review, leave some stars if you're enjoying the show. Don't forget we have subscriptions available, and you can listen to this show commercial-free, along with hundreds and hundreds of others from Palace Intrigue, including Ghost, our October Halloween special series. Check out Ghost, Scary Stories, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.